very welcome to the Faroe Islands. It's about 20 years since you've been here.
Yeah, look, we're kind of working it out. It must have been 18, 19, 20 years. When I was here, it was there was no license, to sell alcohol. Nobody told me that at the time before I came, but you had to be a member of a drink club. And I remember we played in a basketball hall with the Faroese musicians, and after this I went to a drink club somewhere, it must have been here in the town, and it was really wild at the time,
But now you don't have any worries about the drinking.
No,
I mean, you don't have any drinking problem now.
I gave up alcohol 2 years ago. No, it's not a problem, except it was never a problem for me unless I couldn't get some, But no, I just decided to stop for a couple of years. But I've noticed there's some very nice cafes and bars and stuff. We had a lovely meal here last night. It's really nice to be back, because I worked in 2001 with Ollie Poulsen. And Ollie comes from here, and he was telling me all about it, how much it's changed over the years. It's very easy to see, I'm looking forward to the show tonight. The guys have said that the theatre is amazing.
Where are you playing tonight?
In the it's the North Hall.
The Nordic House.
The Nordic House.
Yeah. It's actually a very good venue. Yeah.
They told me it's like an amphitheatre, that the stage is flat and you go up. That's great. And sort of the audience can throw things much easier that way,
Let's hope they don't throw anything out.
As long as it's not spears and javelins, I'd prefer if it was money.
No, up in Faroe Islands we use sheep.
Sheep.
No,
in Scotland they do the same. But what are you talking about?
It's sheep and easy here in the Faroe Islands. No, we don't throw anything. We love old people. But when you were here like 20 years ago, you played with some Faroese musicians.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because we came a couple of days early so we could rehearse. And in those days you couldn't drive, the way you have the tunnels now. So we had to fly in and then get a ferry over, And it was a bit of a haul, if I remember rightly, And then it was all, it seems so long ago. It was all a bit of a blur. It's really nice to come back.
So you haven't forgotten Faroe Islands. It's still in your memory.
I just remembered, the one thing that really is vivid in my head is when we flew in. Because we had really nice weather yesterday when we flew into the Faroe Islands, I should say, and it's so dramatic, with the sea back crashing against, and it's been breathtaking to look at, I can, every time I'm here, it's been, I spend a lot of time in Scandinavia now because of the success of the album that I have, The Irish Connection, and but I have been for the last 6 or 7 years. All my band are Danish and this sort of thing, and Ireland and Scandinavia have this history, because the Vikings established Dublin as a city, and Howth, where I grew up, was a fishing village, was a Viking outpost, and so I've always been very interested in Viking history. I mean, the way the designs are all very similar. That's an Irish design from Wexford. It's my name called Ohm writing, but you can see the sign of the winner on each side, on this two of them, one on either side, and it's a very similar type of design to Viking design. So I think our cultures were very intermingled at one point. And I think that, so when I come and I see something like the islands, when I fly into them, you think about the first generation of Vikings that settled here, and, they must have been very hardy men,
They call it Papar, the first Irish monks that came to the Faroe Islands. They call it Papar.
By the Irish, yeah. Sorry about that, That's terrible to say. We also discovered America first. But when we saw what it was like, we left it where it was,
It's very funny. I used to play in a band in Iceland, which is called Papar, and Papar were the first Irish monks that came to Faroe Islands and Iceland with boats they made out of calf skin. I think.
I wasn't joking about the thing with America. I mean, that was Brendan the Navigator, Saint Brendan the Navigator, that actually found. They reckon he found it a couple of hundred years before Columbus. And I said,
are you serious?
I'm dead serious. And as the joke goes, he left it where it bloody well was. But that is true. I mean, that the early monks and from that time were trying to spread the word of God all over the place to, what they call it, all of God, the forsaken places in the world. And they from what I gather, they were the first people to settle on the Faroese Islands.
Well, Johnny, I hope you will enjoy your stay here in the Faroe Islands, and thank you very much for giving us a little chat.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much for taking the time. Yeah. Cheers, man.
Not the drunk.
You should say
not the drunk version.
No, not the drunk. You should say. Her gott att vara.
Her gott att vara.
Yeah.
That works.
That's good. Very good.
Cool. Okay.
You're learning every day.
Okay.
It's never too late.